Hello and welcome to This Week in FRAX. I'm Sam and I'm joined by Dave and Kiet. And we're here to go over the week. And guys, it was pretty slow this week, honestly. And maybe that's a good thing after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. No, I agree. Get our bearings straight. As long as things are still working and FrxETH is still going up and Frax is pegged, that's all you can do. That's all you can, wish for.
Yeah. I was very optimistic after the FRAX check this week. I thought it was good. Numbers are moving again and
normalizing.
Feeling pretty good. This week, obviously the big news for today, since we're filming on Thursday, is the Arbitrum airdrop. And lo and behold, FRAX got a 500,000 ARB.
Yeah, that was surprising.
And so should FRAX become a delegator? Should we become a voter? Should people delegate to us so that we can have voting power on the network?
What are the advantages of doing that?
We just become a voting entity. I saw a couple of people ask about it in chat, but we just haven't done it yet. I don't know if the guys have looked into like claiming the ARB yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what goes into roll-up governance, because I don't know. Like, what do they decide? I'm sure that it's a lot, but I just haven't looked into like what in Optimism's existence and their governance since they launched. What have they decided on? Is it like curve governance where it's very active and things matter, or is it like Uniswap governance where it doesn't matter?
I think it does matter because when they decentralize the sequencers at some point, because they're not at the moment, you'll need the token to handle that governance aspect. But for now, it's just centralized sequencing. But eventually we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, eventually. Yeah. One step at a time.
And I guess that raises a question where our good friend Westwood has constantly been asking is, how come we don't have Fraxland on Arbitrum yet? And I know you guys are going to say oracles, but we've talked about this before. Magic, which is one of the largest tokens on Arbitrum, has an oracle. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I secretly saw something live in the Fraxland UI for cross-chain lending like 4 months ago. So I know it's there.
Have you checked the GitHub? Like what's in the GitHub?
I haven't checked the GitHub, but when I went to the UI one day and it showed like either Optimism or Arbitrum or
it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's just a matter of when and how.
Yeah.
Like Arbitrum lending. Is there enough liquidity on Arbitrum, like to handle liquidations?
I mean, for ARB token, yeah. For Magic, yeah.
ARB token, yeah. For Magic, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can have ARB, Magic, ETH, WBTC, the majors.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have GLP.
That would be great. I don't we'll see. Let's see what happens this quarter. I've asked a couple of times. I usually get no.
I'll ask Drake.
Yeah, I usually get no reply, but I've asked Drake like several times now, and he never gives me a reply, which means that they've probably talked about it internally, but haven't made a decision yet about what to do. So
I think their main focus now, from like last talking to the team, is when V2 FrxETH, when Shanghai comes out, FrxETH decentralizes, and the next thing is just adding more tokens and pairs to Fraxland.
Yeah.
And like something I've been wondering is like I've been looking at the Ape token and it doesn't have a lot of activity. So like, what can the Frax community do to like reach out to the Ape community and ApeCoin DAO and all that to be like, hey guys, you can lever and use your Ape token here. Like, is it even being used widely with other pairs like USDC? Is it being used widely on Aave, or like Ape people just not DeFi people?
Do you guys own any Ape?
No.
I think it's a different scene. Yeah. Look, I think if we wanted to juice more of those assets coming in, you give Fraxland gauges somehow and let the market figure it out. Like
Fraxland to Fraxland to supply. Yeah, I think like when it comes to adding tokens to Fraxland, it's like what kind of diplomacy can we do? Like what kind of like how can we get communities to come over and say like, hey, you can use your token here? And I feel like the borrow AMM when that comes out will solve a lot of those problems because a lot of assets can't be on Fraxland or any lending platform for that matter, because there just aren't oracles for them yet. So I'm excited for the borrow AMM. So
What do you guys think about gauges for the FRAXland?
I didn't Euler do that. I know Euler was doing gauges before. It
Mhm.
was a good growth strategy, but I I mean we have the AMO. That's like for like setting and I like the idea you had before of the target rates.
Yeah.
We should have like a mandate set target. That makes more sense than directing resources to Fraxland, because at the end of the day, Fraxland is about you know expanding the market reach of Frax, not growing the TVL of Fraxland. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, but isn't that the same? Like, how do you know the difference between expansion versus just growing the TVL?
I mean, you want organic growth. That's
Right.
what I mean.
Right.
You want organic. It's like, let's say if like you have incentives and you cut. We all see when you cut the incentives and boom, like
Everything
capital and
unwinds.
liquidity is mercenary.
Yeah.
So like
But the
you
other
have to
side
be.
of that, though, Dave, is Frax lend AMO prints, and you could use the Frax gauge to
Print.
effectively have a bribe system, and then
Mm-hmm.
Frax lend AMO prints off of that. So there's also
Yep.
that argument where it's actually revenue generating.
You pay for the
I mean,
borrow. Pay for the borrow. Like you pay them. You set up the
it's
gauges
worth
for the
the. All
borrow.
right, if you put it that way, it's worth the discussion.
Because then it
But
can be because look,
well,
at the end of the day, the point of the gauges is to incentivize growth of this
mm-hmm.
stable coin, right? And if we have a gauge for Fraxland, it's going to be competitive. The market will determine, what the rates are, right? And any market power that's used to vote for Fraxland stuff just diminishes other rewards that may go to somewhere else, right? And so then it becomes way more competitive, where you have to. It becomes an economic question of which pools do I boost? Do I boost my Frax USDC pool or do I boost my collateral pool, right? And I think it would be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how it would work.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I guess it's also a matter of like where we want to direct the gauges. Like, do we want to direct it to like Fraxland, or do we want to direct it to like FraxPP or FrxETH or other activities? In terms of Fraxland, it would be interesting. I was about to say something, but I completely lost my train of thought. But
Also,
I know what I was
maybe
going to say.
yeah.
Anybody can go to the governance forum and like propose a gauge to
True.
forum.
True,
Like,
true.
doesn't Sentiment have a gauge? Doesn't Sentiment have a gauge?
I don't know. But are there any other
we can ask them.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get those guys on.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe there would be no demand for the gauge system for Fraxland, but at least it would provide some sort of subsidization where it would push rates higher. So now you could let rates run higher. So you just make more money. Hopefully the idea is that the increase in rewards that get paid out in FXS will get offset by more borrowing on that pair. And so
would you incentivize the lending, the borrowing, or both?
The borrowing.
Borrowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where we make all the money, right? Like we're subsidized. You have to subsidize something, right? So you need to subsidize the borrow, which is what people are paying, the expense that people are paying. And then the AMOs would make it up on the back end, where hopefully you make just as much for.
What pairs would you want to incentivize?
Try it on? Probably stake FrxETH at first. Yeah, that
FrxETH,
makes sense. Yeah,
for sure, because that would.
I think we have a proposal to here, guys.
Dude, that would actually pump FRxETH too, because not only would you get the native ETH yield, you would actually get FXS yield if you were to borrow.
If you put it that way, like as a growth strategy for FRxETH to have loop the borrowing, that actually makes a really good proposal.
Yeah,
I think let's talk to Nader about. I'm going to write that in my notes.
Yeah, I think it requires a temperature check just to start with to see.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how it goes. To do like a test case, do like a 3-month test case for a gauge on FRxETH and see if it affects demand in any way. See if we get like a nice bump of people borrowing.
Yeah. I mean, it already pays for itself. This is just like
exactly. And speaking of stake FrxETH, the yields were insane this week.
That was fun.
Yeah. Most of the chat was just dominated by people asking why the yields are so high.
They're like, what's the catch? And it's like, oh.
Why is it 11%?
Like, yeah. Is this sustainable, you guys think?
I mean, it's going to come down. It's going to come down
next week. Yeah. It's like on a week to week. It's on like a week to week epoch thing. So like this previous week gets distributed over now, and then it'll reset for next week. Which is pretty nice. Also this week, the reserve pool kicked off. So EUSD FRAX Space Pool had some really juicy rewards. They actually, it was very successful. I saw Thomas post something to the effect of the TVL on the pool went from like 1 million up to 6 million in just a couple of days. So it works. It works. Pairing against FRAX Space Pool is a great idea, guys. And you should definitely do it.
Come get some.
Yeah.
That airdrop has to go somewhere.
And then the last non-governance news for the week is that CVX FPIS staking went live on Convex. So C2TP said he doesn't really exactly know what's going to happen with like gauges or what the system is going to be, but he wants to provide the service where he can. So he said further that since there's only staking, the tokenomics around CVX FPIS are a little bit different than the other CVX tokens. They're going to have a fee that is used to increase weight or LP incentives if they need it. And the idea is that like the fees are just going to be kind of up in the air right now, right? And then they're going to figure it out later. But the idea is to have increased rewards on the single-sided staking. And so that's live. If you want to have liquid FPIS, you can go to Convex now at frax.convexfinance.com and dump your FPIS in there and start to grow. And the yields were really juicy the last time I checked. Like there was only about $200,000 in there, but that meant that, just checking it right now.
What is it?
160%. So 23% from FPIS and 136% from CVX rewards.
Jeez.
That's nice. And there's $1 million in TVL in there. It's pretty sizable at this point. But I will say that the majority of people are not in the Convex pool. They've just added FPIS themselves because it's a little bit different, and you don't actually need to. Protocols could probably whitelist on. I mean, when you think about like, we could probably take loans against FPIS in the future, and I think this is what people are banking on, is that somehow they'll get liquidity at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did CVX FXS that went back to PEG, right? They're single-sided.
It started moving up.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so really started moving up a lot. Now moving into governance, there were a couple of things we need to talk about this week. The biggest one being Metronome. Metronome is in its final couple days for its revised partnership strategy that it has proposed. So far, it's only gotten 821,000 votes. So I actually need to go out and vote on this. And the rest of you guys need to vote on it as well, too. We like the Metronome team. We like the Vespa team.
We like the Zane.
Yeah.
We like the Zane.
We like the Zane. So definitely get out and vote for this. This sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
Flywheel endorsed.
Flywheel endorsed. And it's definitely been updated. There's a lot more information here about what they want to do and how they want to split the 220,000 CVX. So it's a 1-to-1 matching of 110,000. And that's going to go towards the MSUSD pool on FRAX Space Pool. And then the MSETH pool, FrxETH pool, is going to get 70K. And then they're going to integrate all these things throughout Metronome. So it looks pretty cool. They're going to do a bunch of stuff for us. You'll be able to get looping in on your stake FrxETH. So it's benefit where you'll get new farming opportunities, potentially to increase the supply of FrxETH, directional exotic positions on the Frax ecosystem assets, and routing Frax assets through the broader DeFi ecosystem. So looks pretty cool. definitely we like the Vesper team. So get out and vote, and let's get this one passed. Moving on.
Which time is left? The 25th.
2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So by the time this comes out, there'll be 1 day,
Okay.
and hopefully this one gets over the line. The next, moving on to the forums, there was a proposal by our friend Thomas Mattamore, who just came on the last week's podcast, to add a gauge for EUSD FRAX Space Pool. And this makes sense, right? They just got their gauge on curve and convex. They just released their incentives for the pool, and now they would like to get FRAX Space Pool incentives. So this one should be pretty awesome. Probably going to get just passed through, and this one looks pretty good. The next is a offer from Kronos and Arbitrum to get a VE NFT. So maybe another solidly fork, and they would like FRAX.
Another solidly fork.
Another solid.
No way.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
So they would like FRAX to come in and provide liquidity on their new exchange. For example, in FrxUSDC or FrxETH, which probably isn't a bad thing. I mean, we provided liquidity into Athena, didn't we?
But here's the thing. I mean, Athena did well. Athena did very well, actually. But I'm thinking like on Arbitrum, you have GMX, Sushi, Camelot, Uniswap. Like,
is there a solidly fork on Arbitrum?
I thought there was. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's on OP.
There's Velodrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Velodrome has been very successful though as the native OP exchange. We've done, they've done the solidly right for sure.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting.
Kronos.
This is a very different website, so let's just go to their website and see what it's like. The cool thing about Athena is they had like some awesome artwork. They really leaned into like the vaporwave Greek.
I love all these Greek names.
Yeah. This one looks pretty.
Return to tradition.
Yeah. The flywheel effect. Okay, we're sold. They said the flywheel.
The flywheel effect.
I gotta take a shot right now. I'll take a shot right now.
We should go to every partnership website, Control F flywheel, and see if they have that word.
Wow, 0.3 ETH for their NFTs.
That's kind of high, no?
Yeah, this is a little high. All right. So then the last one. We already talked about that. Is that going to be it? Let me just go back to the snapshot page. I believe that's it. I don't think
real slow week on governance too.
Very slow week. And
well, it won't be slow for long because I'm putting something up. Yes, I'll announce it here. I am putting up a incentive program for the FRAX ecosystem for people to create educational content. I worked this out with Nader. This was originally going to be posted in January, with Flywheel. But Nader was like, we should make it a separate FIP. I'm like, fine. So, waited a few months and took the initiative on it. And here we are. And basically $10,000 worth of FXS a month will be allocated towards educational activities, whether it's written articles, infographics on Twitter, videos. The guidelines will all be in there. I'm going to post it right after this. I was just at a doctor's appointment, so I couldn't do it now. I'm good.
After this filming or after this posting?
After this filming. So by the time you post, it'll be up. Okay. Spread, ways to spread the FRAX gospel far and wide and to align those spreading it with, FRAX, with the FRAX ecosystem incentives program. Let's go. Yeah. So hop down in the forum. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Again, kind of a quiet week, but that's okay. Everything else is running well. Do you guys want to talk about anything else that happened this week?
Yeah, I've been really, catching up on history. I watched The Big Short again, rewatched it for everything that's happening. I watched this PBS documentary about, the age of easy money. And it's just so insane how this is just macro related, past 15 years of easy money, and all the money was supposed to go to reinvestment in economy, infrastructure. It'd probably never be as easy again to do anything. And it just we just didn't do anything. It just went towards buybacks and just like widening inequality. It just pumped assets because, give people and show me an incentive. I'll show you an outcome. And if like their incentive is to just like, do what's best by their shareholders, well, fuck, they're going to do what's best by their shareholders. And so, yeah. And now, we're seeing, we're in the middle of a little something, a little something is, brewing worldwide. First it was Bear Stearns, then next it was Silicon Valley Bank. And now it's like Credit whatever. Credit Suisse.
Credit Suisse, bro.
Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse. So, yeah. I think it's a good time to study history. Maybe listen to some Ray Dalio. Maybe listen to some, opposing views of Balaji, not just Balaji himself, and come to your own conclusions. And at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is buy Bitcoin and have a private key. And of course, if you love the future of money and the future of France, come join our community and join the discussion here. Not financial advice.
What is financial advice is that you should subscribe to our Substack.
That was a good one. That is a good one.
It's completely free. It's completely free. It's completely free. It's completely free to subscribe to our Substack, and we will send you some great information every single day.
But nothing written in the Substack is financial advice.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And if you want to subscribe to our videos and get notified whenever we post something like this and then some, go hit that bell button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. Hit that like. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Flywheel DeFi. Follow us on Telegram at Flywheel DeFi. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFi Dave 22.
You can follow me at 0xcapital_K.
And I'm at traders_insight.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.